Maya Chen stood at the viewport of the diplomatic shuttle, watching as the Galactic Council station grew from a distant sparkle to a massive structure that defied human architectural understanding. The crystalline spires and organic curves of the station reflected the light of 3 nearby suns, creating an aurora of colors that Earth's atmosphere could never produce. After 6 months in cryo-sleep, she still felt the lingering chill in her bones, but the sight before her warmed her spirit. Ambassador Chen, the ship's AI announced, its voice carefully modulated to sound neither too artificial nor too human. We will dock in approximately 20 minutes. The station's atmosphere has been adjusted to Earth standard in your designated sectors. Maya nodded, smoothing down her diplomatic uniform, a sleek, midnight blue outfit designed to project authority while acknowledging humanity's junior status in galactic affairs. At 35, she was the youngest human ever appointed to the Galactic Council, and now, apparently, the only one. The message had arrived just as she was emerging from cryo-sleep. All other human diplomatic personnel had been relieved of their duties by council decree. No explanation given. She was now, quite literally, humanity's sole voice among the stars. The docking procedure was seamless, the station's advanced systems compensating for the limitations of human technology. Maya gathered her thoughts as the airlock cycled, mentally reviewing the countless briefings and training sessions that had prepared her for this moment. But nothing could have truly prepared her for what waited on the other side. Ambassador Xylix, her official council liaison, stood waiting. The Nexarians' crystalline body structure caught the light in mesmerizing patterns, and their thoughts manifested as subtle color changes rippling through their form. Maya had studied Nexarian emotional displays extensively, but the patterns she saw now didn't match anything in her training. Ambassador Chen, Xylix's thoughts translated directly into her mind through her neural implant. Welcome to the Galactic Council Station. We trust your journey was acceptable. The pause was slight but noticeable. Thank you, Ambassador Xylix. The journey was quite comfortable. Maya kept her voice steady, professional. However, I must inquire about the status of my colleagues. The message I received was rather abrupt. Xylix's crystal structure flickered with what Maya interpreted as discomfort. All will be explained in due time. First, you must be properly settled. Your quarters have been prepared according to human biological requirements. As they walked through the station's corridors, Maya noticed the stairs. Representatives of dozens of species, some humanoid, others defying description, watched her pass. Their reactions ranged from curiosity to what she could only interpret as pity. Her neural implant caught fragments of translated conversations, the last one. Better this way. Kinder than the alternative. Their path took them through the Grand Concourse, a massive open space where representatives from thousands of worlds normally mingled. Today, it was eerily empty save for a few maintenance drones and a group of Voltari energy beings floating near the ceiling. The council is currently in recess, Xylix explained, noting Maya's observation. A special session has been called for tomorrow. Your presence will be required. Maya stopped walking. Ambassador Xylix, with all due respect, I need to know what's happening. Why have all other human diplomats been dismissed? Why was I kept on? What's this special session about? Xylix's crystalline form pulsed with deep blues and violets, colors Maya had never seen in their kind before. Ambassador Chen, you were chosen to remain because of your unique qualities. The Council has been observing humanity for a very long time. Tomorrow's session concerns humanity's future in the galactic community. Our future? I don't understand. Earth has been a member world for over 50 years. Provisional member, Xylix corrected. Tomorrow's vote will determine humanity's final status. They paused, colors shifting to something approaching what humans might call uncertainty. You should know that several council members have expressed concerns about human genetic stability and evolutionary direction. Maya felt her heart rate increase. Genetic stability? We've passed every medical and biological screening required for membership. Perhaps, Xylix's thoughts came slowly now, but there are those who believe humanity's potential for violence, your species' emotional volatility, and your remarkable adaptability make you unpredictable. Dangerous, even. The Council prefers stability. They reached Maya's quarters, a space designed to mimic Earth conditions down to the atmospheric composition. Before Xylix could leave, Maya asked one final question: why me? Why keep me here? Xylix's form shimmered with what might have been sympathy. Because, Ambassador Chen, you are different. Your psychological profiles show a level of emotional control and logical thinking that some council members believe represents humanity's potential future. Tomorrow, the council will vote on whether to help humanity achieve that potential. As the door closed behind her, Maya's mind raced. The implications were clear: this wasn't just about diplomacy. The council was planning something far more fundamental, and she was the only human left who could do anything about it. She activated her personal computer terminal, determined to learn everything she could before tomorrow's session. As she worked, a message arrived from an anonymous source within the council: the vote isn't about membership. It's about consent. They don't need it to proceed, but they want it. You're not here as humanity's voice, you're here to give them permission. Maya stared at the message, her reflection in the screen showing a face that remained carefully neutral even as her mind processed the horror of what she was reading. Tomorrow, she would have to make a choice: be the token human who helped legitimize whatever the council had planned, or find a way to protect humanity's right to choose its own path. She looked out her window at the swirling colors of nearby nebulae, wondering how many of her species' representatives had sat in this same room, unaware of the plans being made around them. The space station's artificial day cycle began to dim, simulating evening, but Maya knew she wouldn't sleep tonight. There was too much work to do, too much to learn, and less than 12 hours until she would face the Galactic Council, not just as an ambassador, but as possibly the last free representative of the human race. Sleep had eluded Maya throughout the station's artificial night cycle. She spent hours poring over council records, searching for patterns in the gradual dismissal of human diplomatic staff over the past 5 years. The official reasons varied: health concerns, performance issues, voluntary resignations, but the timing was too precise, too calculated. Dawn's simulation was beginning when her terminal chimed with an unexpected alert. A meeting request from a being identified only as Cthrix, third-order data architect of the Council archives. The message was brief: information vital to tomorrow's vote. Security protocols prevent digital transmission. Meet at Archive Hub 7, Level 3. Now. Maya considered the risks. This could be a trap, but she was already trapped. She grabbed her diplomatic credentials and headed out, noting how the station's corridors were still largely empty at this early hour. Archive Hub 7 proved to be a massive crystalline structure that seemed to grow from the station's walls. Inside, data streams flowed like luminous rivers through transparent conduits. A single figure waited by a central terminal, a being that appeared to be made of living data, their form a constantly shifting matrix of light and information. Ambassador Chen, the being's thoughts manifested directly in Maya's mind, bypassing her neural implant entirely. I am Cthrix. What I am about to share violates numerous council protocols. But there are some of us who believe the current path is problematic. Cthrix's form rippled, and suddenly Maya found herself surrounded by floating holograms, medical data, genetic sequences, surveillance footage. The Council's interest in humanity goes far beyond diplomatic relations. For the past 50 years, they have been conducting unauthorized genetic experiments on isolated human populations. Maya felt her blood run cold as she processed the images before her. The colonial outposts. The ones that went dark. Test sites, Cthrix confirmed. The Council has been attempting to engineer what they consider a more stable version of humanity. More logical, less emotional, more predictable. The holograms shifted to show human genetic sequences being altered, spliced with unknown elements. They believe human unpredictability is a threat to galactic stability. But it is your very adaptability that makes you unique, and valuable to certain interests within the Council. The colonies that survived, Maya began, her mind racing. The ones that reported miraculous medical breakthroughs were successful experiments, Thrix finished. The Council plans to implement these changes across all of humanity. Tomorrow's vote isn't about approval, it's about method. Immediate implementation versus gradual integration. Maya watched as more data flowed around her, each piece adding to a picture more horrifying than she had imagined. Why are you showing me this? Why help humans? Thrix's form condensed, becoming more focused. Because some of us remember. Before we became beings of pure data, my species faced a similar choice. We chose efficiency over emotion, logic over instinct. We gained much, but lost something essential. Something human beings still possess. The data being moved closer, their form casting a soft glow over Maya's face. The Council believes they are offering humanity perfection. But perfection without choice is merely programming. And programming can be hacked, controlled, directed. Maya's diplomatic training kicked in, her mind already formulating strategies. I need proof. Something I can present to the full Council. Dangerous, Thrix cautioned. Many Council members are deeply invested in this project. They will not appreciate exposure. Nevertheless, streams of data began flowing into Maya's neural implant, carefully encrypted files that would prove what she had been shown. There's more, Thrix continued. The research facilities are still active. The most advanced is hidden within the Denebola sector, disguised as a medical research station. If you can reach it. An alarm suddenly blared through the archive hub. Thrix's form flickered anxiously. Security protocols have detected unauthorized data access. You must go. But remember, what seems like evolution can be extinction in disguise. Maya hurried toward the exit, her mind racing with possibilities. She had proof now, but proof alone wouldn't be enough. She needed leverage, allies, a way to force the Council to reconsider. As she rushed through the corridors, her neural implant was already analyzing the encrypted files, revealing more details about the Council's plans. The scope was staggering, generations of careful manipulation, all leading to this moment. Back in her quarters, Maya began formulating a plan. The Council had spent 50 years studying humanity, learning their weaknesses. But they had overlooked something crucial: humans were at their most dangerous, their most creative, when backed into a corner. She had less than 8 hours until the Council session. 8 hours to find a way to save humanity's future without destroying the diplomatic relations that kept Earth safe from more direct intervention. As she worked, a new message appeared on her terminal, this one from Ambassador Xylix: the Council has moved the vote forward. Session begins in 2 hours. Your presence is required. Maya looked at the proof scattered across her displays, then at her reflection in the viewport. They thought they had engineered the perfect scenario, a controlled human who would help them control humanity. They were about to learn just how unpredictable humans could be. She touched her neural implant, sending a carefully coded message to Thrix: thank you for the archives. Time to show the Council why human unpredictability isn't a flaw, it's our greatest strength. The Council's research facility loomed before Maya, its pristine white exterior belying the dark secrets within. Getting here had been surprisingly easy, almost too easy. Her diplomatic credentials, combined with the access codes Thrix had provided, had allowed her to requisition a small transport vessel without raising alarms. The Council's confidence in their control over her was becoming their greatest weakness. The facility orbited a dying star in the Denebola sector, its location chosen specifically because few ships ventured this far from established trade routes. As Maya's shuttle approached the docking bay, she activated the genetic mask Thrix had helped her synthesize. Her DNA readings would now register as those of a Proximan researcher, Close enough to human to explain any anomalies, but different enough to avoid suspicion. Incoming vessel, identify yourself, the facility's automated system demanded. Research Associate Vena Key, Maya responded, using the credentials Thrix had extracted from the facility's database. Priority Clearance Lambda, 7, Project Oversight Division. There was a pause that seemed to stretch forever. Then, credentials confirmed. Welcome back, Associate Key. Please proceed to Docking Bay 3. The facility's interior was a maze of sterile corridors and secured laboratories. Maya's altered credentials gave her access to most areas, but she noticed how certain sections required additional authorization. Those would be her targets. She made her way to the main research hub, where dozens of beings from various species worked at complex monitoring stations. The air hummed with the sound of advanced equipment and the subtle vibrations of powered containment fields. Associate Key, a voice called out. A tall, spindly being with iridescent skin approached. We weren't expecting project oversight for another cycle. I'm Director Nexus. I trust you'll find everything in order. Maya nodded, channeling the cool professionalism she'd observed in Proximan diplomats. Recent developments have accelerated our timeline. The Council requires a complete status update on all active projects. Director Nexus's skin rippled with what might have been concern. Of course. Though I should mention that several test subjects have shown unexpected responses to the latest genetic modifications. Show me, Maya commanded, fighting to keep her voice steady. The director led her through a series of increasingly secure checkpoints to an observation deck overlooking a massive chamber. Inside, Maya saw something that made her blood run cold, dozens of containment units, each holding what appeared to be human beings in various stages of transformation. As you can see, Director Nexus explained, the integration of Council-approved genetic modifications has been largely successful. These subjects show enhanced logical processing, reduced emotional volatility, and improved integration with our technological systems. Maya forced herself to look closer. The beings in the containers were technically human, but their skin had taken on a translucent quality, their eyes were larger and entirely black, and fine, wire-like structures ran beneath their skin. And their cognitive functions? Dramatically improved, the director said proudly. They process information at rates approaching artificial intelligence, with none of the unpredictability that makes standard humans so problematic. Maya's neural implant was secretly recording everything, encrypting the data with protocols Thrix had provided. And the failures? Director Nexus hesitated. Perhaps we should discuss those in my office. In the director's office, Maya learned the true horror of the Council's vision for humanity. The failures weren't just failed experiments, they were human beings whose bodies or minds had rejected the modifications in spectacular and tragic ways. But what shocked her most was learning that these weren't isolated incidents. The Council has been guiding human development since your species first showed signs of achieving spaceflight, Director Nexus revealed. The radiation leaks in early space programs, the mysterious genetic mutations in isolated populations, even certain technological breakthroughs, all carefully orchestrated to push humanity toward what the Council considers the ideal form. And what form is that? Maya asked, though she feared she already knew the answer. A perfect balance of biological adaptability and technological integration. Imagine it, a species with human creativity and adaptability, but without the emotional instability that makes your kind so dangerous. A species that can interface directly with Council systems, that can process information at quantum speeds, that can be trusted with advanced technology without the risk of using it for destruction. Maya thought of the transformed humans in the containment units. They're not human anymore. They're better than human, Director Nexus insisted. They're what humanity was always meant to become. The Council simply accelerated the process. As Maya left the facility hours later, her neural implant heavy with encrypted evidence, she understood the full scope of what she was fighting against. This wasn't just about forcing evolution, it was about redefining what it meant to be human. Back on her shuttle, she received an encrypted message from Thrix: the council session has been rescheduled again. Tomorrow. They know someone accessed the facility's records. Be careful. Maya looked at her reflection in the shuttle's viewport, remembering the transformed humans in their containers. The council thought they were creating perfection, but they were really engineering extinction. Humanity's right to choose its own path wasn't just about freedom, it was about survival. She set course for the council station, knowing that her next steps would determine not just humanity's future, but what it meant to be human at all. The council had spent generations trying to perfect humanity. Tomorrow, they would learn why human imperfection was worth protecting. Maya's return to the council station was met with an eerie silence. The usual bustle of diplomatic activity had ceased, replaced by an atmosphere of tense anticipation. As she made her way through the corridors, she noticed security drones tracking her movements, their sensor arrays pulsing with unusual intensity. She had less than 20 hours before the final council session. The evidence from the research facility was secured in her neural implant, but evidence alone wouldn't be enough. She needed allies, and she needed them fast. Her first stop was the Arcturian embassy. The crystalline beings had always maintained a cautious distance from council politics, but they also had a philosophical opposition to forced evolution. Ambassador Lyra, a towering figure of living crystal, received her immediately. "We have been watching," Lyra's thoughts resonated in Maya's mind. The council's actions disturbed the natural order. But speaking against them would have consequences. Maya played her first card, projecting selected images from the research facility directly to Lyra's crystalline matrix. The ambassador's form flickered with horror at the sight of transformed humans. "This isn't evolution," Maya argued. "It's extinction wrapped in the language of progress." Before Lyra could respond, an alarm blared through the embassy. "Security breach in progress," an automated voice announced. "All diplomatic personnel clear the area." "They're coming for the evidence," Maya realized. But as she turned to leave, Lyra's crystalline form shifted, creating a hidden compartment. "Quick," the ambassador commanded. "Your neural implant." Maya understood. She removed the device and placed it in the crystalline cavity, which sealed seamlessly. Moments later, council security forces burst in, led by a grim-faced Ambassador Xylix. Ambassador Chen, Xylix's thoughts carried an edge of disappointment. "You were meant to be the example of human potential. Instead, you prove why your species cannot be trusted with its own destiny." The security scan revealed nothing suspicious. Maya's neural implant was undetectable within Lyra's crystalline structure. But as they escorted her away, she caught Lyra's subtle nod. The first piece was in place. In detention, Maya received an unexpected visitor. Thrix's data form slipped through the security fields as easily as thought through synapses. "The council is divided, the living data being reported. Your evidence has already spread through secure channels. Some members question the ethics. Others fear the precedent of forcing evolution on a member species." Maya leaned forward. "How many would oppose it?" "Not enough. Yet." Thrix's form shimmered. "But there's something else. The Voltari energy beings have reviewed your evidence. They recognize patterns similar to their own history, another species the council tried to perfect centuries ago." This was the opening Maya needed. The Voltari were among the most influential council members. If they saw parallels with their own past. A plan began forming in Maya's mind. "Thrix, I need you to get a message to every species that's ever been subject to council guidance. And I need access to the station's emergency broadcast system." "They'll know it was me," Thrix warned. "They already do," Maya replied. "Why else would they let you into my cell?" Thrix's form flickered with what might have been a laugh. "Perhaps humans aren't the only ones who can be unpredictable." The next 12 hours became a dangerous game of political chess. While Maya remained in detention, her allies moved through the station's power structure. The Arcturians presented her evidence to key council members. The Voltari shared their own historical records of council interference. Thrix spread data packets through the station's network, revealing centuries of unauthorized genetic manipulation across multiple species. Then came the assassination attempt. Maya's food synthesizer produced a meal laced with nanites designed to rewrite her neural patterns. Only her recent removal of the neural implant saved her. The nanites had been programmed to use it as an access point. The attempt backfired spectacularly. The Arcturians, claiming diplomatic necessity, moved her to their embassy. Now she had diplomatic immunity and a secure base of operations. Hours before the final council session, Maya made her boldest move. Using the station's emergency broadcast system, she addressed every being on the station. To all species represented here, the vote tomorrow isn't just about humanity. It's about every species that's been shaped, guided, or perfected by the Council. Look at the evidence in your data networks. Ask yourselves, how much of your development was natural, and how much was engineered? The Council claims to seek perfection, but perfection without choice is just another form of prison. Tomorrow, we don't just vote on humanity's future, we vote on whether any species has the right to choose its own path. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Species that had been silent for centuries began demanding investigations into their own histories. The council chambers erupted into chaos as centuries of secret manipulations came to light. In her secure room in the Arcturian embassy, Maya received a final message from Thrix: the council has called an emergency session. All species are required to attend. They're moving the vote forward to first light. Maya looked out at the swirling colors of nearby nebulae, thinking of the transformed humans in the research facility. Tomorrow, she would either save humanity's right to choose its own destiny or watch her species become something unrecognizable. She touched the space where her neural implant had been, feeling strangely more human without it. The Council had spent generations trying to make humanity predictable. Tomorrow, they would learn why unpredictability was humanity's greatest strength. The Council chamber was a vast amphitheater of crystalline structures and hovering platforms, designed to accommodate representatives of thousands of species. Today, every seat was filled. The air crackled with tension as beings of all forms, energy, crystalline, biological, and even purely digital, gathered for what many now realized was a pivotal moment in galactic history. Maya stood on the central platform, her midnight blue diplomatic uniform a stark contrast to the shimmering surfaces around her. The evidence from her neural implant had been transferred to the Council's secure systems, ready to be presented. Behind her, representatives from the Arcturian, Voltari, and dozens of other species had positioned themselves in a show of support. High Elder Zelena, a being of pure light and the Council's most senior member, called the session to order. Their voice resonated directly in the minds of all present. We gather to vote on Implementation Protocol 7249, the guided evolution of humanity. Maya stepped forward, but before she could speak, Ambassador Xylix interrupted. Point of order, High Elder. Ambassador Chen's recent actions have demonstrated precisely why this protocol is necessary. Her emotional, unpredictable behavior is exactly why I must speak, Maya cut in, her voice steady. But not just about humanity. She activated the chamber's holographic systems, and suddenly the space above them filled with images, the transformed humans from the research facility, historical records of other species, guided evolution, documents spanning centuries of council manipulation. For generations, Maya continued, the Council has been playing God, deciding which species are worthy of their natural path and which need to be perfected. You call it guidance. You call it evolution. But I've seen your perfection, and it's nothing but extinction wearing a mask of progress. The chamber erupted in murmurs as more evidence appeared, the Voltari's early history, the Nexarians' forced transformation, dozens of species whose development had been secretly guided by Council interference. You fear human unpredictability? Maya challenged. Our emotional responses. Our capacity for violence. Yes, these can be dangerous. But they're also the source of our greatest achievements. Our emotions drive us to explore, to create, to connect. Our unpredictability leads to innovations that logical minds would never consider. Our capacity for violence is matched by our capacity for sacrifice, for protecting others, for fighting against injustice, like I'm doing now. High Elder Zelena's form pulsed with what might have been concern. The protocol offers humanity a path to greatness. It offers us a cage, Maya countered. A beautiful, technologically advanced cage, but a cage nonetheless. And we're not the first species you've tried to cage, are we? She gestured to Thrix, whose data form projected records of past council decisions. Every species you've perfected has lost something essential to their nature. The Voltari lost their ability to dream. The Nexarians lost their capacity for abstract art. The Quantum Collective lost their ability to evolve naturally. All in the name of stability, of predictability, of your version of perfection. The chamber had grown deathly quiet. Maya pressed her advantage, but here's what you never understood about humanity. We're not just our genetics. We're not just our capabilities. We're our choices. Every human is the sum of countless decisions, made for reasons that sometimes defy logic, driven by emotions you may never understand. That's not our weakness, it's our strength. She turned slowly, meeting the gaze of various council members. You want to make us more stable? More predictable? Look around this chamber. Look at what predictable, stable species have accomplished. They saw injustice and calculated the risks of speaking out. They witnessed manipulation and logically decided to remain silent. They watched as species after species was perfected into submission, and their stable, predictable minds told them to accept it. Images of the research facility's subjects appeared again. This is not evolution. This is not perfection. This is the death of everything that makes us human. And if humanity faces extinction, I would rather it be on our terms, following our own path, than live forever as shadows of what we could have been. The chamber erupted in discussion. Species that had been silent for centuries began speaking out. Others demanded investigations into their own histories with the council. The carefully maintained order was cracking. High Elder Zelena raised their hands for silence. You speak of choice, Ambassador Chen. Yet you would deny the council's right to choose the path that ensures galactic stability. No, Maya replied softly. I'm asking you to choose something better. Choose to let species develop naturally, with guidance when asked for, not imposed. Choose to celebrate diversity instead of fearing it. Choose to see that the galaxy doesn't need every species to be perfect, it needs them to be themselves. She took a deep breath. The vote today isn't just about humanity. It's about every species represented here. It's about whether we want a galaxy of perfect, predictable beings, or one alive with diversity, creativity, and yes, even a little chaos. Because in that chaos, in that unpredictability, in those emotions you so fear, that's where true growth happens. That's where life happens. The voting began. Species after species registered their position. Some voted out of fear, others out of hope. Some voted to protect their own secrets, others to prevent future manipulation. Hours passed as thousands of representatives made their choice. When the final tally appeared, Maya felt tears in her eyes, an emotional display that would have been edited out of the council's perfect humanity. The vote was clear, Implementation Protocol 7249 was rejected. More than that, a full investigation into past council genetic manipulation was approved. High Elder Zelena's form had dimmed slightly. It seems, Ambassador Chen, that humanity's unpredictability has proved unexpectedly valuable. Maya smiled. That's the thing about being human, High Elder. We're at our best when we're being exactly who we are. As she left the chamber, surrounded by newly emboldened allies, Maya thought about Earth, about the colonies, about all the humans who would never know how close they had come to losing their humanity. The Council had sought to perfect humanity, but they had failed to understand a fundamental truth: perfection without choice is meaningless, and choice, with all its messiness and unpredictability, is what makes us human.